I'm Kerry Fink, Executive Director with the Helping Seniors of Brevard organization, and we'll have an opportunity today to talk to you a little about our president and founder, Joe Steckler. Joe, as you may remember, was a retired Navy captain. His last, among other things, while he was in the Navy, he commanded submarines, he worked in the Pentagon, but his last command in the Navy was he was in charge of the Navy's retirement home in Gulfport, Mississippi. And I kind of imagine that's probably what gave him a lifelong love for seniors and feeling that even in his post-Navy service to our country career, he would want to do things that were going to be beneficial for seniors. So he and his lovely wife, Terry, they retired right here to the Space Coast. They wanted to be near the military base. At the time, it was the Air Force Base. Now it's the Space Force Base there in Patrick Air Force Base, or Patrick Space Force Base. And Joe couldn't stay retired. So shortly after getting here, he began his work on the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundation. And to this day, does so much great service in our community. They operate what they call Joe's Clubs, 3 independent around the county daycare facilities for seniors that are challenged with some cognition trouble so that we can really benefit our caregivers. And Joe retired from that and couldn't stay retired. That's when I had the privilege of meeting him as he was drawing up the plans to organize Helping Seniors of Brevard, a 501c3 that has now been serving Brevard County for literally 15 years now. When I first met Joe, he wandered in off the street. At those days, we owned a TV station building because we had a very good and successful multimedia Christian multimedia business. And Joe said, "What do you guys do here?" And I told him that we worked on everything from movies to television to radio. And he said, "I need some help. I'm forming an organization called Helping Seniors of Brevard. And the key point is," he said, "I love to do education. I think it's so important." He said, "I ran Brevard Alzheimer's for all those years and love working with families that are going through and helping them through with memory challenges. But," he said, "I realized some families deal with cognitive issues, but every family deals with aging issues." And he said, "I really feel like there needs to be another nonprofit that can do this work." And so that's how Helping Seniors of Brevard was organized, and it was designed to operate the county's senior information helpline, which last year took over 4,000 calls by itself. It's that free call at 321-473-7770. And then in addition to that, we now also operate we call it Joe's Senior Resource Center of Brevard. It's a 5,600 square foot facility right here in the beautiful Omni Medical Care building. It's called the Apollo Professional Tower at 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. But in addition to that, Helping Seniors has always been invested in bringing education to seniors. And that was one of the reasons that Joe said, "I need your help," all those years ago. He said, "I want to do TV, I want to do radio, I want to do articles. I want to make sure families are getting the information that they need so that they can make good aging decisions." Joe always called it an aging plan. We euphemistically call it getting your ducks in a row. But whatever you call it, it's important, and we want to be there as a service to all seniors and their families in Brevard and help them navigate senior issues. I always explain we were caregivers for our mothers, and thank God we had the ability to talk with Joe and Nancy and some of the great people in the Helping Seniors organization to be able to get some guidance along the way as different things would pop up, because you could consider yourself to be very smart and very good in your own race lane, if you will. But when it comes to some of these things, it's the first time many families hit these, and they really need help from an experienced voice that says, "Here's a couple of ideas, let's focus in on that." So as you know, Joe was active in the Helping Seniors organization from its inception through his entire rest of his life. We lost Joe at the end of January, and then 2 months later we lost his lovely wife, Terry. They both went peacefully with family at their sides. And Joe was 91, and I believe Terry was 86. Wonderful people. I often say they just don't make people like Joe and Terry anymore. We had a lovely memorial service at Holy Name of Jesus, which was their church throughout their whole time here in Brevard County. So many great people and dignitaries from our county showed up to honor Joe and Terry at that. And one of the things that we were talking about, literally the last day that I talked to Joe, which was the day before he passed, he said, "Kerry," he said, "we've got to keep this going." He said, "The need for seniors is so great." And this is just how Joe's spirit was. He said, "Kerry," He said, and this were his precise words, if there's anything you can do to use my predicament, again, Joe's word, my predicament, to help keep this going, he said, I want you to tug at some heartstrings and get people to support the work of helping seniors. He said, it's so important. And I often say that too. I said, I would always tell Joe, I said, you're such a visionary, because 15 years ago when you dragged me into this and said we need help to put together some TV and radio programs, there were a lot of seniors. 15 years later, there are way more many seniors for three different reasons. One, people are turning 65 at an unprecedented pace. I think the national statistic is 1 every 7 seconds turns 65 across the country, and this is just going on and on and on. So we just flat have more people turning 65 every single day. Number two, Florida is just a place that people want to come to. So there are more and more seniors coming here from other states simply because they want to soak up the sunshine. We have a lot of good benefits for seniors in terms of homestead exemptions and maybe even some tax benefits and things like that. So Florida tends to attract seniors at an unprecedented pace. I think I heard a statistic from one of the real estate folks that it's 1,000 people who are moving into Florida. I think it was per week he was explaining. So there's just a lot of people coming to Florida. But the third reason is seniors flat live longer. So it wasn't that many years ago that you would turn on a national news morning program and you would see a great personality. I think his name was Willard Scott, and he would salute the 1 or 2 people nationwide who were turning 100 that day. Here today, it's people are turning 100 and going for 102, 104, whatever, at almost many locations throughout Brevard County. It's just because with technology and life expectancies and good medical care, people are just flat living longer. So we often say in Brevard County, a county of 1 in 4 who is 65 plus, and 1 in 2 is 50 plus, which is the AARP mandated. We're going to send you a membership card, whether you like it or not, on your 50th birthday. 1 in 2 of us hits that statistic in Brevard County. So we often say if you're in Brevard County, you either are a senior, love and care for a senior, God willing, live another year or two, you're going to become a senior too. So to honor Joe, we decided to come up with a very special thing that we call the Friend of Joe Honor Roll. And I'll explain to people, one of the things that Joe imparted to me is like, you can't have a nonprofit where people don't support the work of the nonprofit. The only reason a nonprofit exists is to provide the services it does into the community. There's no one here that's trying to get rich or anything like that. It doesn't inure, is I think the legal word, to anybody's particular benefit. We are here to serve our community. And as I always tell people, we can go no farther than you will help us to do so. So as you know, the Helping Senior Car Raffle has become a great tool, fundraising tool. We're now, as I'm talking to you now, in the middle of our 9th annual Helping Seniors Car Raffle event that's going to wind up October 26th. Once again, thanks to the kindness and generosity of Mark Pylock at his lovely museum, the American Muscle Car Museum at 3500 Sarno Road. So we were trying to find the right balance of how do we honor Joe, how do we do what he asked us to do, which is to make sure that we organize funding for the organization and think about the future of helping seniors so that we can keep Joe's vision moving forward. So we came up with a term called Friend of Joe. If you know Joe or ever had the pleasure of meeting him, he was like the best friend a senior could ever have. He was a fierce advocate on their behalf. He was a kind soul about understanding the things that seniors would go through. I remember him saying, Kerry, getting old isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And he was always a friend with a kind word for our seniors in Brevard County, wherever they were and regardless of the situation that they were facing. And so we came up with Friend of Joe as for those of you that would like to join us in honoring Joe. Here's how the program works. We're asking you to join the Friend of Joe Honor Roll. So this is the thing that we're doing where we want you to stand alongside with those of us in the Helping Seniors organization who have made the same donation. We're asking for a $200 donation into adding your name to the Helping Seniors Honor Roll. You can do it anonymously if you'd like, but Joe had so many friends, it's really fun to list the names out and some of the kind thoughts that people are sharing with us. There's already been dozens of people who are joining Joe's Friend of Joe Honor Roll. And here's what happens with that. First of all, just to thank you, we will send you 10 Helping Seniors car raffle tickets. So your $200 donation actually gives you 10 tickets into the Helping Seniors car raffle. So you're already represented in there, and certainly you are welcome to come down and join us on the day of the grand drawing, which is Sunday, October 26th. You've certainly helped our charity, but you might help yourself to a brand new car if we pull your ticket out when we do that drawing that Sunday afternoon, last Sunday in October. But that's not all. We're going to make sure that you're recognized as a VIP when you come to the event. So we've got some special things set aside for that. You'll have a special VIP wristband when you attend the museum. We also have put together little Friend of Joe's pins. So you'll have something to be able to go on the collar of your suit or your blouse or whatever you'd like to use it for that just recognizes you as a friend of Joe, somebody who's appreciated the work that Joe Steckler has done for seniors here in the county. You know, last year, the Brevard County Commissioners honored Joe with the Older Americans Month. Joe has been named on his birthday, for example, as Joe Steckler Day right here in Melbourne, Florida. So lots of people honoring Joe, but this is your chance to honor Joe. Your $200 donation does those things. It keeps the work that Joe envisioned going forward, now needed more than ever. It also gives you those 10 tickets into the Helping Seniors 9th Annual Helping Seniors Car Raffle. It's also going to give you 5 VIP wristbands for that event, and you're going to get your own Friend of Joe pin coming to you by mail. So in addition to that, though, at the end of the year, we're hoping that we're going to have a very, very big section of our Helping Seniors News, which, as you know, we publish center section of the Senior Scene magazine each month. We're going to devote a page or two, or hopefully maybe more than that, depending on how many folks join us in Friend of Joe's, to each person that's given along with their remembrance for Joe. So that's going to be a way to signify your support of everything Helping Seniors is doing and to honor all the work that Joe did in our community. And in addition to that, of course, we will add you right away. We have a page on the Helping Seniors website. If you go to it, you'll see it on the screen here, helpingseniorsofbrevard.org/Friend of Joe. And if you go to that, you'll see the people who are already contributing and remembrance notes that they want left for Joe. Most of the notes are just wonderful. They remember how much Joe meant to them at various points in their life. Maybe it was somebody that they became acquainted with through the services of the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundation. Many are the people who Joe has reached through all the work that we've done together here at Helping Seniors of Brevard. And on top of that, we're just finding a lot of people who really just want to say, let's keep this going. Please, we want to support this and keep this going. And we are grateful for each and every donation. People think it's easy to have a nonprofit, that there's just grants, there's all kinds of money that flows down. Nothing could be further from the truth. I remember Joe saying he thought it was tougher than running a business, because to be able to provide the services you provide in the community, which are free to those who get them, you have to have people who are willing to help you fund the cost to make it happen for those people. So that's why we exist at Helping Seniors of Brevard. I want to give you a couple of ways to get involved in the Friend of Joe program. First, you can give us a call, 321-473-7770. I'm going to say the number again. It's a great number to keep in mind because it is actually also the Helping Seniors helpline. So again, like 4,000 plus families made use of that number last year. We are here to serve you any way we can. But if you'd like to join Friends of Joe, just call 1-321-473-7770, and Karen or one of our great volunteers will be happy to get you signed up with all that. You can also go directly to helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, and you'll see a place that you can sign up right there on the homepage. We encourage you to do that. You can do it safely and securely by credit card. If you would like to mail in a donation, maybe you still use checks, and that's a good way for you to do it, please, by all means, send us a check. You'll see our P.O. Box information right here on the screen. That gets it directly into our secure P.O. Box, and we will be so grateful for your willingness to be a friend of Joe and help keep the work of Helping Seniors going forward. Again, on behalf of Joe and Terry Steckler, and let me say, Terry was really a driving force behind the scenes. They were asking to find some good pictures of her for her memorial, and we were really scrambling. Joe always took the front stage and was willing to always talk on behalf on seniors. Terry was always there right with him, and but willing to be the behind-the-scenes person making it all happen. But we really love, honor, and miss both of them. We're so blessed to know them, and we hope that you will join us and be a friend of Joe's. Thank you. God bless you.